Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Sever7, and today we are taking a look at the Genex primarch. That's the ultimate goal of seeing if it's worth adding to your collection or your daily carry rotation. Now, this knife was designed by Jben. He owns Genex Blade, and the knife was OEM'd by Riot, but the finishing touches, the assembly, and the tuning are all done by Jben, which places this firmly into the mid-tech territory of the knife world, and its price will reflect that. So jumping into it, we've got these bronze titanium scales. We have a medium titanium milled pocket clip that, with the push of this little lever, pops out to give you plenty of clearance to get in and out of the pants. In and out of the pants, that's what she said. We have beautiful zirconia inlays, and we have this zirconia pivot. We have proprietary hardware, but it does come with the tool for said hardware. And then we have this beautiful, I'm talking next level spine, to the point where it looks like these are floating. Oh, and I think I just noticed that little, oh, here, let me put on camera, that little dot there. I think that's just a blue anno. I don't think it's zirconia. I think it's a little blue anno, but it's a nice touch. We do have a spot for lanyards. And back here, we have more of a naked pivot. Nice little silver offset that matches the blade and shows you exactly where oh man, I forgot what it's called. Well, somebody in the comments help me out. Even down to the lock bar relief cut, having that same triangular shape that can be found throughout the knife. We have this milled out spot here, but even within that, we still have milling. And then we have some milling down here. This is where you would pinch, so it lets you know you're in the right spot and offers just a little bit of traction. But overall, this knife was very well thought out. And there wasn't anything that was left in afterthought. I mean, everything on here was clearly very intentional, had a purpose, at least that was reflected on for design. And you can kind of tell, like, you know, this was made with some purpose. We have a little scoop out here, dead center. And I love whenever they include this little bitty scoop, because that means they're really trying to get every ounce of blade into the handle as humanly flipping possible. Now let's talk about the ergonomics. I mean, it's pretty dang easy. You got a spot right here for your finger, and then your ring finger and your middle finger can rest in here, and then your pinky can rest back here. It is incredibly ergonomic. It is very comfortable. Pocket clip completely disappears. We have functional jimping up here. It's not going to completely lock you in, but you can definitely get some traction out of it. But yeah, the ergos on this are stunning. I couldn't pay somebody to find a hot spot on this knife. Even if I'm like white knuckling it, look at this. Nothing, just comfort. Obviously it's, you know, still hard because it's titanium, but this is probably the closest a knife can feel to squeezing a pillow, because it's just that comfortable. Jumping over to the blade, we've got this really gorgeous harpoon Tonto with a recurve. A hollow grind for the recurve, and then a flat grind from down here to the tip. We have a beautiful belt satin finish, and then a stone wash for the flats. Check out that logo. See, that's the kind of billboarding I can appreciate because that just adds some character. Such a cool design. This is Vanax Super Clean. You can see Vanax right down there. And this is Riot, so we know that they know what they're doing whenever it comes to heat treats. Now let's talk about the action, because this is probably my favorite part of the knife. Incredibly comfortable disengage, very hydraulic. Just fantastic. Thumb studs are incredibly comfortable. They've got enough texture for you to grip onto them, but they're so soft and smooth. There's enough surface area that you're not actually going to slip off of it, but they just feel so comfortable. This, despite the size, is a fidget monster. The acoustics are incredible. And I've never felt action like this before. It's different than skiffs. It's like, it feels like, I don't know, it just feels like action I've never felt on another knife before. And I mean that in a good way, because the action is incredible. All right, just one more. Oh, beautiful. All right, so let me size it up right here. As far as the weight goes, we're rocking 6.8 ounces. This is a heavy guy. We're looking at about 8¼ inches for overall size. And that's with about, I want to say 3 3/4 on the blade. Excellent blade to handle ratio. Let's do some size comparisons. Let's run it up against, I forgot I pouched my review knives. All right, let's run it up against the third best Civivi, second only to the Visions. Let me line it up with the line here. I keep forgetting to do that. All right, so we are coming in. I don't want to include the glass breaker because that is not functional length. So it looks like we're coming in maybe of 1/4 inch bigger than the Civivi Brazen. Let's put it up against the Nigaron Gatov. We are hilariously larger than the Gatov. And let's try it up against the Real Steel Sylph. And while the Sylph is holding its own, we're still about 1.5 inches shorter than the Sylph. So, final thoughts. When this knife was available, it retailed for $590. And this was not the top end configuration. They had one configuration that was full zircotized scales, front and back. And that one went for, I want to say right around $800. But this configuration specifically was $590. Now, do I think it's worth that price? Yes, absolutely I do. A couple of reasons. One, typically Riot titanium frame lock, I wouldn't price above like $350 unless it was an integral, and then it can go from $350 to $450, and that's about where I'd be comfortable with it. What makes this one different? Well, this one's different because it's got quite a bit of zirconia on it, which adds to the price. Also, the level of machining on this knife is no joke. This spent more time on a machine than your typical Riot does. To get the, those floating spacers, all of this milling that was done in here, all these jimps, the kind of faux integral look that it gives you, all the grinds on the blade, a tremendous, you're talking milling, even on the inside here, milling. There's no doubt that more work went into this knife than a typical Riot. But in addition to that, we also have to factor in Genex for the blade steel, and that the hand tuning, the assembly, things like that, those were all done by JBin, right? So these are not production knives. These are small-ish, right? It's not quite small batch, but small-ish batch. Think of like on the level of Machine-Wise, right? They're not necessarily super small batch, but they don't make a ton of knives. This is kind of in that same category. Small batch, and every single one of them was hand touched by the designer, right? That's what makes it a mid-tech. Not that he just walked up and went, oh, mid-tech, but the fact that he went through each knife individually and gave each knife attention, making the action that smooth, assembling it himself and doing that for all of the knives. That's what makes it a mid-tech. So you have to add more to that, because he's not doing that for free, right? Yeah, he wants to produce the best knife possible, but like he still has to make money too. And the fastest way to make money is to get these out the door as quick as possible. He didn't do that. He went through each knife one at a time. So at $590, to get a Riot OEM'd mid-tech with all of the fit, finish, and feel that this knife offers, yeah, I would say $590 is pretty fan-flippin-tastic. Yeah, you can say, well, it's Chinese. Okay, well, Custom Knife Factory is also Chinese. Their knives are not mid-tech, and they'll charge $800, $900, especially if they put zirconia on it. And I would argue that the quality of this rivals or beats most CKF knives that I've handled. So I think the pricing on this is incredibly fair. $590 is a lot. You don't have to spend that much money to get a good pocket knife. This haVe Brazen with the milled aluminum, this came in at like $65, and this knife will do everything this knife will do. You can cut boxes, you can, cut into bags of dog food, cat food, open all your packages, cut tape. This knife will do all of that, $65. Actually, take it a step further, and the Gatov will do pretty much that exact same stuff, and this guy's $30. You don't have to spend $590 to get a good knife. But if you want something that is overbuilt, you want something that has some pizzazz, some custom touches, you want the zirconia, you want the crazy blade grinds. If you want these things, then yeah, this is where you're going to be sitting, if not higher. So I absolutely think this knife is worth the money. This has been a collection piece for me. It has seen some light carry and light use, but very minimal. And it's one of those knives where I might carry it, but I definitely have one of my budget beaters in my pocket to do the heavy lifting. And this guy might come out for a package or tape or something like that. So let me ask you, is this a collection piece for you? Is it a daily user? Or did this knife completely miss the mark for you? Let me know down in the comments. Also, recently laid off, so if you want to help your boy out, I have Cashapp and PayPal in the description. Couple bucks, whatever you have, every little bit helps keep the channel going. 100% of it does go right back into the channel. Outside of that, if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe, share with all your friends, and until the next time, guys, peace.